Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Salem by Night Chronicle. I'm the Revenos Archon. My name is Will, and I'll be your storyteller this evening. Last we left off with our Camarilla crew. We opened up with them inside Otis King's office on the second floor of Gunther's storage, where they learned that the Bishop of Salem was pushing out of Kaiser. They learned that Yvette Morrison had shown up asking for Ivory's support in becoming his primogen, or rather it was revealed to Otis. But they also learned that he never really dealt with her when he was in the area, since she was more of leading the Anarch movement, and he was dealing with a gentleman named Marcucci. But they did learn that the Vagabond was robbed and vandalized. Carl also revealed his little tidbits of the vision that he had, including the Molotov cocktail, the destruction that befell it, and as well as the little bit of the Roman numeral that had eluded John Coulson. Otis revealed that Hyde had a Nosferatu in his pocket, and he asked if Kathy had been acting strange or unusual around them since he was trying to pin down who it was, and none of the clan were willing to give up any of their own because of their loyalty to each other. But they also learned that Tulip was not in the city or in Portland or in the state at all. But they also learned that Manny and Tulip had first linked up in New York before coming out west, so there was a connection there that they were hoping he could find out where she was for them. They also learned that Otis King is not somebody that will break the tradition of Elysium just to attack Hyde, and that he will behave himself, asking Ivory to let everybody know that he will be in attendance at this New Year's Elysium. The group asked what he knew about Alfred Beckett, and they learned the same thing that they had learned before, that he was one of the whips in the city. But they had also learned that, or they also revealed to Otis that they found him in a bar that the Sabat trio had been seen at on video. And then they let them know that Melvin and his coterie were hunting down that little pack in particular. But they also let him know that the Tremere Primogen had seen them at the Red Eye Lounge, and so they decided to use Kathy as a bait for having summoned them out to that area, in case anybody started asking. We shifted over to see Kathy in the throes of her clan compulsion as she came across the storage unit with a remnant of a spray-painted X across its doors. She broke the lock to reveal a macabre scene inside and the stench of death kind of lingering within. She found bodies and a crucified remains of a man all the way at the back of the storage unit. And as she looked around, she realized that the bodies laid out had been actual missing persons going back about 5 or so years, and that the gentleman who was in the back looked like he was in the throes of some great amount of pain and suffering. She took his money out of his wallet and found out that the man's name was Sean Eastworm, and that his address was somewhere in Hayesville. But she took Sean's body with her, met back up with everybody. They dumped him in the trunk and took off. Kathy decided to introduce Ivory to Annabelle and Leslie, the two Malkavians that she had been kind of befriending and getting into cahoots with. They got to see a gentleman who was a big fan of the Yankees, kind of sitting there waiting for some kind of vision, and that he had been there last couple of days trying to not invoke, but definitely hope that something was going to come out of having Malkavian assistance as far as his endeavors in the cities are supposed to go. And so we jumped to Wednesday, December the 17th, as Carl learned that Sean Eastworm had traces of Vitae in his system, though it wasn't enough to have ghouled him, but it was enough that he discovered it belonged to Kamila Borovka, who was one of the anarchs in the city. He also learned that he was stabbed to death and that he was drained of blood. And after invoking a vision, he saw a young woman who he didn't recognize standing by a Volkswagen bus outside of the Albatross when Melvin and Marcus both stepped out in the middle of a conversation and went up to her. And as she turned to get into the van, he got to see a glimpse of Joshua Allens, who was the gangrel primogen under Geraldine Birmingham. But he left the city when the first whispers of the Sabbat started to creep through the streets. Kathy, in frustration, gave up another memory to the restless that she had persuaded, and I use the term loosely, to figure out where Tulip was. And the creature forced her to relive one of the more traumatic memories that she no longer has access to. And she did find out that through the memory that he gave her from him, he saw Tulip through his eyes in the middle of what looked to be this necropolis of real and long dead buildings. But she was in the middle of feeding, and this was from the previous day. And as everything was happening, Billy kind of went somewhere else to avoid all the spiritual stuff as things were cooling down, and he had already had enough shenanigans for one night. But we left off with Ivory and Carl discussing the whole Sean Eastworm situation with Benjamin as Billy drove Kathy out to go see Manny Garza. Hello, everybody. It's good to see your faces. It's been a while. I'm excited to see what you learn. So, we're going to start off with Carl and Ivory sitting at one of the tables, Benjamin having intently listened to the whole description of the Sean Eastworm situation, having seen the body in the trunk, and after a moment, he just kind of looks up from his notepad. This, from my perspective, I believe is a crime of passion. This doesn't look like it was done for any other reason than to send a message. You're saying that there were bodies laid out in some kind of scene. Perhaps one of your kind. What is the word? Touchstone. Perhaps might have been one of these people. So whoever did this to him must have had some connection to one of the people there, perhaps. The way in which he was portrayed to be part of the scene, to the wounds here are, and I understand that some of your kind can be animalistic. These are savage. These are not methodical attacks. Someone wanted him to suffer, and he suffered wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I agree with that part. That's for sure. Those wounds were not pleasant, I'm sure.
No. I.
Shall I see what I can find on him, ma'am?
Thank you. But evidently this happened a while ago. We do have a couple other more pressing matters.
Of course. I'll put this on the back burner, as you like to say.
Yeah, when you have a moment.
But he pockets the ID for Sean, and he rips out the paper that he had been writing his notes on, and he kind of folds it up and puts it in the same pocket.
But the other matters that I mentioned are a little more pressing.
Of course. I'll get right on it. And he gets up, goes about getting prepared for the night ahead of him. It's only about 10:30, 11 almost. Billy has left with Kathy. So the two of you have the nightclub to yourselves. by Friday, the club should start being more active. You've got on the docket.
I think that was going to be my soft opening was on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've got on the docket a sound check for a small group called the Bangles. And Billy did let you know that one of your guests will be bringing a date that was not on the paperwork, but that she wanted a little extra security and an extra kind of egress path laid out for them that he wanted to work out with you. But the big name star that will be showing up on New Year's with her date is going to be Jamie Lee Curtis, who is bringing Christopher Guest.
Excellent.
Your up-and-comer is going to be Phoebe Cates.
These are actually people I represent. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Not my character, but in real life.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was going to have Drew Barrymore, but I did the math and she's 9. And I was like, you can skip this one.
Not.
Wrong year.
You can skip
I don't
this.
think so.
At this point?
Yeah, no, I did the math.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she's 9.
Yeah, she was still a star, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But vampire is not a place for a 9-year-old.
And everything else.
No.
This is not a scenario for a 9-year-old to be a part of. So.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
But
I mean, not that she already hasn't seen a fuck ton of weird shit, I'm sure, in Hollywood, but
yeah,
that's
But the next year is when Jamie Lee Curtis and Christopher Guest get married. So I was like, you know what? It'd be a nice little cute moment to have them have their New Year's kiss kind of be what seals the deal.
Oh, I like that. Cool.
Yep. And it happened in Salem, Oregon. What were you going to say?
I'll have a reason to come back later.
Yeah.
I was going to say, since obviously I helped out with putting up some preventative wards and stuff around Portland, since this is going to be kind of our base, I was thinking about it, and maybe I could start laying out some stuff around here, in some of our downtime, or starting. It doesn't have to finish it. I'm just saying, starting all the preps and laying out what I can. I don't know how you wanted to handle that.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to broach the
subject now, some of the ritual.
Yeah, if you want to broach the subject now with Ivory, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So Ivory, I was thinking, since this will be our base, and if you've been kind enough to share it with all of us, I was going to help so that the rash of fires that seem to be affecting clubs lately, maybe it can at least be modified, and the threat significantly turned down. Plus, as time goes on, we can add some other wards to your property, and I can tune them to us, and those we want to have access and all the stuff, depending on which layer of the club we're in, kind of thing.
By the way, Will, any of these conversations that they're having that's like this, she's doing in her actual office, where Davies did not go when he was doing the artwork. That was not part of where the artwork was going to go.
Correct. Benjamin is already, now that he's been dismissed from the Sean Eastrom conversation, he is already getting to work on the last task that you asked him to do, wrote down for him to do, which is to find the bugs in the establishment.
I don't necessarily want to remove them. I just want to know where they are.
Correct.
If there are any. So, yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, that would be, yes. I think that would be a great idea. It has been concerning how many things have been burning around town. And I wouldn't say I've put everything into this, but I've put a lot. So What does it entail?
Okay. Mostly just time, and I'll let you know any ingredients or such that I need, but pretty much should have most of it already.
Excellent. How long will it take?
That's a good question, Will.
What do you want to ward against? What's on your docket?
Well, first we're gonna try. Let's see. Like fire resistance would be nice. I don't know if that's an actual ritual in the game though.
We can create rules for it if it isn't.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, obviously, Coulson didn't have anything like that prepared, or if he did, it was dismantled.
Right.
But you have avenues that you can go ask.
Right. And I know, like, so definitely, like, ward against spirits, warding circle against ghouls, all that stuff is in my range of stuff.
We might want to talk. We might want to talk to Kathy before we ward against spirits. She seems to be dealing in them.
Well, I mean, we can, like I said, we can hand it.
I don't know. Maybe we should do it for her own good.
Well, and every ward generally has like the ability, or at least they did, to, like let you like certain things in depending on.
The werewolves are concerning. Can you do anything against that?
Yeah, that's a different one. That might take some time. That's one I doubt we've had time to practice that one.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So, it'll take some time. It definitely won't be up. All the wards that you want would definitely not be up by New Year's Eve. But you could have 1-2 wards up, depending on what you want and how intricate they need to be. But as you guys
definitely fire.
As you guys are discussing that, we'll jump across the bridge to West Salem. As Kathy is pulling up to Gunther's storage, you can see that there's now a little golf cart sitting at the gate. There's a bit of a security guard that looks like he's smoking a cigarette. And as you get down, and before you even open the door, you already see that Manny is waiting for you as he's talking to the gentleman behind the counter, and his eyes light up. His smile suddenly creeps across his face. He's like, "Oh, look at this. I was just talking about you. This is like a witchcraft. Yeah? That's what they call it?"
Yeah, totally. Kathy looks up at him and is like, but speaking of witchcraft, what's with the security guard?
Oh, somebody broke into one of the containers, man. We gotta beef up security.
Do you have any idea who broke into it?
No, we don't have cameras yet, but we're gonna get them.
Oh, okay. Can I talk to you in private?
Yeah. There's an office upstairs I can use.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, and he pats his hand on the counter. Hand. I'll be back.
No, she takes his hand.
Yeah.
She's like.
But yeah, you go upstairs and you see him pull out a little key ring of keys, and he opens up one of the offices, turns it on. Bare bones. There's like a table and 2 chairs, and he points to one of them. Pick whichever you want.
She doesn't even. She starts to spread out all the drawings, and mind you, she's been like drawing as much as she can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want me to roll to see how like legible they are, but considering that she was an anatomy student, I'm assuming like she has the ability to like at least do it, and she begins to lay them out, so it kind of creates a similar scene to what she saw, and with Tulip in the middle, and then she takes a step back and she does this. Found her.
Hey, you talking about Tulip?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found her too, man. A couple days ago, Melvin came in with his crew. We had just we got some word from Seattle. He's over there. She's been dealing with some bullshit.
Yay, Melvin. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, he didn't bring the information, but you know.
When are we gonna go get her?
I'm not going to Seattle. We're not going to go get her anything. She'll come back when she's good and ready.
We have an Elysium that's like a month away. She should be a part of that. Nosferatu should come back.
It's like 2 weeks away. What are you talking about?
This is true. Sorry, my mind's getting the best of me. But we should at least let her know what's going on.
Yeah, well, once we found out where she was, we sent word. We let her know.
And we didn't inform me. You didn't inform me of any of this like we agreed on?
Yeah, well, I just informed you. So consider yourself informed.
Thanks, Manny. You've been such an awesome resource.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
glad.
do you know that while you're out gallivanting and blowing hot air up your hoo-ha, that I am over here making myself a sheriff of West Salem, and that has a lot of issues that come with it. You understand these, right? Like I don't go around just helicopter dicking my way into everybody's house. Like I do work.
Helicopter dicking?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Like spinning my dick like a helicopter. I don't do that. I don't have time for that.
No. Okay, but this... Manny. Okay, fine. She looks at him. She's like, I have brought you the news. I have brought you the news that you were supposed to have brought me. But it's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, do you understand that I don't know how open you are to communications, but once you create yourself a name, like people tell you shit, and the shit that we've been hearing isn't fun. Okay, like we're not here having a good time, having a party. You understand that the Inquisition has taken out London, right? Like all the vampires in London have been fucked. Like that worries me. It should worry you.
In London?
London.
Why should that worry me about London when it's half a continent away?
That was the capital of the Camarilla, my friend. That is, if they can purge an entire city like that, that is the jewel of the tower, it should worry you. Especially when we have a beach like Sasha Vikel's less than an hour away by plane.
Yes, I understand that we have her less than an hour away by plane. Thank you. I've been trying to meet her, but that's cool.
You don't...
Because no one seems to...
You don't want to deal with her. Like, she's a monster.
So I keep hearing. But no one else seems to care about anyone else that seems to go missing. Tulip goes missing. No one gives a shit. Teddy goes missing. No one gives a shit. No one gives a shit until they pop up, I guess, in fucking Wannabe, and then London gets blown up. Like she shakes her head, and she goes, Manny, the only thing I care about is getting my clan back. And I understand, and I will give this information to Ivory, who probably has more information about it, but you're talking to somebody who's only been a vampire for like 2 months.
Yeah, man, and you know, you picked the worst 2 months to come into the party, Bing. That's all I gotta tell you. But you know,
where's my sire? I didn't get a sire. I didn't even get a fucking, greetings card. But you know what? I'm still here trying to find my shit. Can you tell me where the rest of my shit is? Who is going to be my helper in becoming this Nosferatu secret wannabe gathering names shit?
I'll tell you what, if you find out how to pull the stick out of your ass, I can help you. But the stick's gotta come out first. You gotta bring it down. You're at an 11. I need you at like a 3. Maybe at the most.
A 3.
A 3. That's where we can start.
Okay. So where's the Nosferatu?
You're looking at him, baby. You want more?
Okay, Manny, I'm gonna go. Nice to see you. Great time. Great chat.
All right.
There's my 3. I gave you my 3, and you said I'm looking at you. Okay, cool. Yeah. Question for this lovely conjuration of Nosferatu greetings.
Like if you want to talk to Julian, I can get him on the horn, but he's like, we don't just pop up at the drop of a hat when somebody asks for help. Like, Calls have to be made. People have to be informed. This is...
You're about to have an Elysium where we are going to overtake a prince. And you don't think that requires all resources on the table?
Yeah. You think we're all out here having a good time, throwing parties and shit?
Okay, so you mean to tell me that everyone's going to be here in 2 weeks? Everybody that we need is going to be here in 2 weeks, with the fucking anarchs blowing up different cubs every other 2 weeks, or every other 3 days, or with other things that are happening. Otis King doesn't exactly have the same resources he did, what, a month ago? And you're telling me, who just found Tulip, is not even fucking here. She's fucking in Salem, I'm not Salem, Seattle.
Seattle.
That she's going to be here for the Elysium when all this shit goes down. That's what you're telling me.
If she is, she is. Tulip is a cog in the machine. Like, she understands.
Okay. Blind ass support, but okay. Thank you, Manny, for all the great information that you have provided. I'm still glad it was worth it. By the way, just so we're clear, I had to deal with a wraith to get this information, but you keep taking your sweet ass time. And with that, she turns around and she walks off.
Okay, have a good night. Billy's outside, just smoking a cigarette. And as he sees you come out, he just flicks it away. All right, what to?
Take me home, Billy.
All right.
Take me home.
That's an easy drive.
Thank you.
And he'll take you back to the club. Is there anything pressing for the group?
Oh, the minute I get in the door, I go, Ivory, all of London has been burned down by the vampires. And then she goes and closes her door.
I'm trying to remember, did Ivory know that?
No. It is not wide news about London yet.
Where was her sire going?
He was leaving France. And he was coming to New York or Chicago. Not Chicago. Okay. He didn't want to do Chicago.
He didn't want to go to Chicago.
Yeah, he was looking at New York, D.C., somewhere on the East Coast.
Okay. As long as it wasn't London.
Yeah, no.
I yell it like a sulking child. I should mention this. Like, as sulky as you can get. Be like, all of the vampires have been crucified for the Inquisition. I'm going to be playing with Fluffy. Fucking asshole Manny. And closes the door.
Really hoping there's no bugs. Anyway,
Nope. By the time she gets back, Benjamin has found 3 and has pointed them out to you. They're all in places that Davies has walked through and has left art.
Okay.
But it's not on his art.
It's not on his art. Okay. Nope. And so she will know where the safe spaces are? Mm-hmm. Do they also have, are they on-site recording where they have to come pick them up? Because I don't know if in 84 they had wireless.
It doesn't look like it's on-site pickup, but it does look like the transmission area is very limited. So whoever
and he hasn't found the transmitter yet?
No. Okay. Still looking. But anywhere they would be listening in from, they would have to be, if not on site, at least within 5 blocks.
Okay.
So it gives you a small terrain to kind of narrow things down from.
Okay. So hopefully they're not listening all the time.
Yep. Hopefully. But yeah, so you've got information about London. You found out how many bugs you have.
Okay.
And you've started to set up some wards. If there's nothing else that's pressing.
I think she's just working on last minute, getting everything ready, making sure everything is ready for the opening.
Yeah. The Bengals come in.
Kathy's so distressed that she starts training her cat.
Yeah. The Bengals come in, set up a couple of sound checks. One of them is done after the soft open, so that there's a kind of unspoken special concert for people. Quiet little intimate thing. Whoever's there gets to enjoy them. Jamie Lee and Christopher Guest do come in during the week just to see what the club is like, to work down any contingency plans in case they need to relocate if it gets too much for them.
She has some back doors in the club and definite ways to get out if needed. She has a special table set up for them. And downstairs.
Phoebe Cates
go upstairs.
Yeah, Phoebe Cates hangs out after the soft opening, and just kind of like leaves around 10 or 11. She doesn't stay long, but she's always there in the early evening.
Okay. There's an anonymous call to the press. Anytime any of these people show up, that somehow the paparazzi knows.
Of course. And word gets out about the Dance Nocturne, and everybody starts, making it the place to be. After Christmas, the sheriff pops in. He requests that the entire coterie is present, but he shows up by himself, and he looks worse for wear. He is distraught, disheveled. If he still had the ability to grow hair, he would probably not have shaved in the better part of a week. But as it is, he's stuck at that 3 o'clock shadow. And as he comes up, he immediately beelines for Ivory. Is there a safe place that we can have a discussion?
Yes, of course.
I don't know how much you've heard, but shit's hit the fan everywhere. So I want to make sure that we're okay.
Of course. I've been wondering when we were going to go over security. Please. Yeah. And she'll take him into her office. Mm-hmm. And you said he wanted all of them?
Yeah.
She'll, as they're going in, hey, Billy, can you see if Kathy's available?
Yeah, right now. And he hops over.
And she'll call up Chad, or call Carl, sorry.
Yep.
And, hey, are you available?
I can be.
Yep.
At the club?
Okay. Any particular reason or just to chat?
Oh, some security measures for New Year's Eve, just the usual.
Okay, dokie.
Code words.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, go ahead and jump in my car and get over there.
Yep. So Kathy's the first one to kind of walk in. So how much time do you make the sheriff wait for you, since you have established this relationship with him?
Actually, she walks right in.
Oh.
But she looks like complete shit. Like, her hair's deranged. She looks like sad. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, just depressed.
Nope.
So, and she sits, and she goes, and she kind of like just sits on the table and goes, "What do you want?"
I'm gonna wait for the rest of the group to show up before I don't want to repeat myself, is all,
Well, Carl's on his way.
I appreciate you.
Can I get you anything?
I'm good. Thank you, though. Before, because I assume that...
have they found out any of the transmitter or anything in this amount of time about the bugs?
They have. And Benjamin asked you whether or not you wanted it destroyed, or if you wanted him to try to piggyback off the signal to see if he could figure out when they were listening.
Yeah, do the piggyback thing. Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, that'll be helpful. And so whatever code they came up with to know when they're listening would be good.
Sure. It'll probably be something related to herbs, since he tries to talk about his garden a lot.
Okay.
So, and whether it is because he is enamored with the greenery or dealing with plants, or whether he is just establishing a routine, anybody's guess.
Has he found out anything about anything else?
He has. And the night that he is going to kind of like share what he knows is the night that the sheriff shows up. So he sees the situation and he kind of like steps back and just goes about the business here at the bar as it is. He's been helping out as far as like
Sorry.
being a host and helping out, taking people to tables, things like that. Making sure that any of the special guests are safe and taken care of. But once Carl shows up, the sheriff just stands there for a moment. All right, so there's a lot to take in. I'm just going to start with the biggest pieces of information. Hope that you've heard it. Excellent. I hope that you've heard it, and then move on from there. Everyone's on the same page as London's concerned. Good. I don't need to go over that. Anastasia Richards, off the table.
Who's that?
She's the primogen for the venture.
Oh, we met her. Yeah, the girl who stabbed me with arrows. It's been a great month.
So what's up with her?
Misunderstanding. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Why is she off the table?
Grant Reynolds took her out. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. Hyde has some concerns since he's heard that Mr. King will be in attendance. And I don't know if you've heard, but Grant Reynolds has been flapping his mouth about the bishop making an appearance at your Elysium.
Do we know who this bishop is?
No. The big thing is that he's going to reveal himself at your Elysium. So we'll fucking ray for that. Miss Larson, what I'm about to say does not leave this room. And I don't say it lightly. Have we put thought into breaking the tradition of Elysium? Would you and your coterie be willing to help should certain rules be lifted?
I think you're going to have to be a little more specific.
What rules? What are we talking about?
Elysium is where nobody can actually physically harm anyone.
And who wants to harm who? She looks right at the guy. Who wants to harm who? What now? Isn't London burning down enough for you?
Well, the bishop is a member of the Sabbat.
Mm-hmm.
So that is concerning.
The bishop and Grant Reynolds are at the top of the list. If Grant Reynolds shows up with his pack, they're on the top of the list as well.
If who does? Sorry.
If Grant Reynolds shows up with his pack, they're at the top of the list as well. Those three motherfuckers have been giving me nothing but headaches.
So we want to lift Elysium so that you guys can go and pow them?
I mean, that is the short gist of it, yeah.
Okay. So you're going to break a time-old tradition just so that you can even the playing odds for what? So you can piss off the rest of the vampires?
I know it's obviously not like a standing law thing, but in our memory, doesn't the Sabbat like automatically void any kind of protection by Elysium?
That's part of the issue. I know that Hyde would sooner see them turn to ash than allow them entrance to Elysium. But given that Otis King will be at the Elysium and that Otis has an open door policy, Hyde does not want to be seen as an autocrat, a fascist, the old regime, as it were. We're moving forward, so we have to change with the times.
We're in the middle of a Praxis war, and you want to raise Elysium? You want to do away with it?
She points to Ivory. I may be drinking.
Yeah, that seems like a bad idea.
Sounds like a bad idea.
I mean, taking out the Sabbat is one step away from taking out anybody.
The hope is that if the bishop shows up, if Grant Reynolds shows up, if the Sabbat pack shows up, that Otis will see that a combined front stands a better chance at victory than a broken front. Divided we fall.
And how does Hyde feel about this?
He's the one that asked me to come deal with this.
That doesn't answer my question.
I can answer your question. He's fucking scared out of his little baby boy pants. Have I said enough in the room?
He still hasn't answered.
Prince Hyde is a Ventru, has been around since the end of the Wild West. So he's seen some shit. Is he a good prince? I don't fucking care. Like, I will take orders from a jack in the box if it comes from the tower, but we can't let the Sabbat get foothold anywhere, least of all this close to Seattle, where Sasha Vikos is setting up
fair
fucking den of inequity.
However, if you lower Elysium for one, it's going to do it for all.
Including Otis King, who, last I checked, had some beef against Hyde.
And vice versa.
I understand.
So what's going to stop that from happening?
You know, Ivory, I think we might want to have this Elysium somewhere outside of your club, because I have a feeling it's not going to be here come morning.
If you don't want to lift the Elysium tradition for New Year's, I will let Hyde know. I will send someone to let Otis know. And we will try to be as civil as possible. I have no way of getting this information to Grant Reynolds or the bishop or his pack. So I can't vouch for them staying their blades. But I can tell you that Hyde will not raise a finger against anyone unless violence is brought against him. He may not start shit, but he... Okay.
Oh, insight all that way. Like, I'm glad you said it. I was getting rolled a dice.
Okay.
And I think she knows green enough to use...
Call it green.
Yeah.
Yeah, Auspex with that.
Yeah, you do.
Hold on. And this is why I never liked this guy. I just want to make sure we're clear, guys.
No.
He's lying. Hold on.
No, she's just checking because, you know, and this does not prove anything about what Hyde would do, but it's what he believes Hyde would do.
So I roll insight manipulation?
No.
To see if he's manipulating?
No.
Okay, so just insight?
No.
Insight
and awareness. Wits and insight if you're trying to pick up who he is.
1, 2, 3.
Power.
All right.
It's going to be 3 regular dice and 1 hunger dice.
Yep.
5. I got 5 successes.
Okay.
I got 4. Yes.
Okay.
But my hunger dice I didn't succeed on. I got a 3.
That's fine.
Okay.
As long as it's not a 10 or a 1, you should be in a good area.
No. I got a 9, 9,
I'll
7, and 6.
Yeah, one.
Okay.
Yeah, one success. He seems to be telling the truth to me.
Yeah. Carl and Kathy. Kathy a little less than Carl. Carl is just like, yeah, he's on the up and up. Kathy doesn't want to believe it, but he 100% believes what he's saying. Ivory can see the chinks in the armor. Although he wants to believe what he's saying, he knows that Hyde is probably setting something up. Like in the back of his mind, he is worried about Hyde doing something.
Stupid.
But he says, I don't want this to turn into some kind of bloodbath.
I don't want it to be any bloodbath. I'm going to have humans downstairs. I'm going to have press outside.
I understand. Hyde and Otis can be kept separate. They're like two dogs that can just be on separate sides of a fence. Worst case scenario. The wild card here is Grant Reynolds and the Bishop.
Don't do it. Don't do it. If you have a bad feeling about it, don't do it. You and I both know that's bullshit.
Do you think it's the best idea?
Nope. I have a feeling.
I know you're bringing this from Hyde. What do you think?
If we still had a semblance of a Primogen council, I would be all right with the lowering the laws of Elysium once the bishop shows up. Because I don't think, even with all the vinegar and salt that's inside Otis King, I don't think he would have taken on Hyde with a Primogen council at his side. The fact that Grant Reynolds has removed all of those obstacles for him, I think emboldens Otis a little bit more. And I don't know him. I don't know him as well as I've unfortunately come to know Hyde. I hope Otis is nothing like Thomas Reginald Hyde. I don't see this ending in either of their favors if Elysium isn't upheld.
You got your answer.
And that's off the record.
Of course.
Just for the record, I'm for taking out Sabat, regardless of concept, but
I understand.
That's just me.
But not here.
Right.
I don't care where they put their head up. I have a bad history with them. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you're aware, Mr. Keller, but some of the whisperings that I've heard is that Grant Reynolds has availed himself of a young lady named Beatrice Gravel. Imogen Thompson broke the news to me. So it is fair to say that this Templar now has access to blood sorcery. Which makes him dangerous.
That basically just raises it. Yeah, makes him my point even further.
Yeah.
They're all abominations, in my opinion.
Well, of course.
I agree.
Well, like we're all monsters, but they take monsters to a whole nother level. And you can't have order in society with them running around. let alone apparently now the freaking Inquisition is back.
Mr. Keller, what do you know about Mr. Keller? What do you know about Eugene Stanton? Is that a name that's familiar to you?
Sorry, I'm out of character. No, it doesn't ring about. Well, okay. Who was he?
If it doesn't ring a bell to you, you could try to make a roll to see if Carl has had any dealings with somebody named Eugene Stanton. It would be an intelligence and awareness roll. That's not a bad dice pool for you.
100.
6 dice. 5 regular, 1 hunger. That's good.
Yep. Oh shit. Four 10s, including the hunger, and a 6. So
okay. Well, I'm not gonna.
Wow.
I'm not gonna give you a fucking bestial success
portfolio.
Yeah.
I really remember.
Yeah. Why'd you say that name? Eugene Stanton. The moment he says that name to you, there is this inaudible to anyone in the room, but definitely audible to Carl. There is this growl from the beast. Eugene Stanton was one of the Tremere that came up around your same time period. Definitely was into much more of the beliefs of House Goretrix than anything else. Definitely was one of these people that believed in the caste system, and the moment he was given power, he believed himself to be closer to God than anything else. But Eugene Stanton has been climbing the Sabbat ladder. And one of the last things that you read about him is that he was somewhere on the West Coast.
Oh, lovely. And so I'm like, yeah, I've heard of him. As calm as my inner voice is trying to scream at me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Do you have any pertaining information that I could be warned about? Somebody saw him. Kaiser.
Yeah, prepare for a bloodbath. He is a psycho Hitler wannabe.
Another one?
Like, yeah. Shocking Savant tends to breed them. He's a member of the enemy house that even I never, even with my dislike of the old structures, could never get behind any of their more strong tenets. They're the ones that ended up really going full Savant, when one of their leader broke away clan years ago.
Could he have put Mr. Reynolds to task to getting rid of Miss Gravel, weakening the Tremere presence in the city for some reason?
Wouldn't put it outside of his thought process.
And would he be? I don't know. I'm the only thing that I know about your clan is what Primogen Thompson has shared. Would he be somebody unopposed to teaching someone outside of his clan blood sorcery? Say if some wild Templar Bruja got a hold of a Tremere and diablerized her and learned blood sorcery, would he share secrets with this person?
If it gave him some level of power, like I don't think he wouldn't hoard it if he could get an advantage of it, I would imagine.
That's not what here.
They were much more free with their sorcery use in Savat than we were in the Camarilla. Especially particularly due to their blood bonding each other.
The revelry.
Does the Tremere never do that?
You don't want to go down that path. You like people too much. Let's just put it that way.
I didn't want to hear any of what you've just revealed to me, Mr. Keller.
I can imagine not. It's not good news.
No, it is not.
So having dealt with a few of these Sabbat anyway, do you think that they will honor Elysium?
I doubt it. But I also don't know. I can't picture a world where Tucker Watt and his pack honor the rules of an establishment they want to see burnt down. I don't know who the bishop is, so I can't say one way or the other. And the one thing that I can tell you about Grant Reynolds is that every time I hear that motherfucker's name, I get a new level of fear unlocked. And the only one that he seems to not rage against is Melvin.
There's that fucking name again.
That seems
always
odd.
comes back to Melvin.
Yep.
All roads lead back to Melvin.
This guy like Rome or something? Jesus. I
don't know. Marcus told me that they met there once, and that for all the fear that he could muster for himself as a thin blood, it appeared that they had a amicable friendship between the two of them, Melvin and Mr. Reynolds.
Didn't Melvin used to work for you?
He did. He's one of my best agents out in the field.
What's going on with him?
I wish I knew. I could have helped him. He came to me. I would have dropped everything to help him if he had come to me, but chose a different path, I think, which is unfortunate. Melvin was a police officer in life. No. If I had any inkling of an information that would let me have a modicum of insight into his goings-ons, I feel safer. But the only thing I can tell you is that Melvin is a good man, was a good man that was pushed to his very limits, from what I've seen.
I suppose that can happen to the best of us.
Yes.
Yeah, I worry about it happening to me.
Yeah, when Ivory said that, she involuntarily glanced at Kathy.
One should never forget that we are monsters at the end of the day. The only thing keeping it at bay is those vestiges of humanity that we cling to.
Yes, and the Sabbat don't have those to cling to.
They sure don't.
Well, clarify the rules of Elysium. If someone starts a fight, are you allowed to defend?
From what I understand, if someone breaks the Elysium law as it stands, they are forfeit.
Well, then I don't think we need to lift Elysium as it is. If they do something, then they will be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to start the bloodbath.
I don't either, Miss Lawson.
There's a reason why we're different. Correct?
I would agree in all cases except for it's not.
Yeah.
I believe the Camarilla was created so that we could all subside together with humanity and not be noticed. A bloodbath like this in front of the press is not a way to not be noticed.
Given everything that's happened in London, given everything that's been spreading out ever since the Tremere lost Vienna, things are looking more and more dire as the nights creep ever closer to the new decade, the new century beyond that, the new millennium.
Yes. And as technology gets more and more advanced,
I appreciate your time, Miss Larson, Mr. Keller, Miss Carver.
Of course.
So the security issues.
I'm going to have a full detachment of Salem's finest. And I'm going to call in some of the sheriff's units as well. So as far as...
So I do have some back doors and such. But I am going to be having at least one of them for humans, and I wouldn't want that used.
Understood.
Also, that will be downstairs. So up here, we do have a couple more and of ways to get out.
If you could refresh my memory as to where they're at, I would greatly appreciate that. So they're fresh in my mind as we creep closer to Monday.
Yeah, and she will do that. Do you want to play that out or just...
No, you can.
Okay.
You can show him where that's at, and he makes a note of it.
Back by the stage.
Yeah, he points over at Benjamin. That's a new face.
Ah, yes. More security and help for me.
Understood. Well, you've been very kind, Miss Larson. Thank you. He starts to make his way out.
Okay.
So you are left with a shit ton of information.
Was she able to ascertain? Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just saying, I turned to you guys and go, fuck, if they got blood sorcery, this is going to be a bigger bitch of a fight than we thought.
I actually have a recommendation.
Let's go back in the office.
Yeah.
Back in the sanctuary.
We don't need the staff to hear the dirty laundry.
Yeah. But yeah, what's Kathy's idea?
She turns to Ivory. What if we didn't back Otis King?
And do what?
Oh, now you're going to do this?
No, hear me out. Because this is actually something that has been crossing my mind. And I want you to think about it. Ivory, for the last 3 days, I've heard 4 different proposals on how we should lower Elysium. So that people can kill people in free will. And they've all been quite creative. But you know what else I've heard? And she's like twiddling something in her fingers as she's saying it. I've heard you every step of the way debunk them, put them down, and find some reasonable ground. She looks right at her. I don't trust this motherfucker. I don't trust that motherfucker. And this shit is about to go down in a blood feud. And I think Otis King has some part in that. And I think he knew that the Sabbat are going to come. And I think he was going to raise your club down to the ground in the process of him becoming king. Or prince, or whatever it is.
Well, it isn't actually...
That's a fair amount of assumption.
I don't think you were there for this conversation, but Otis also would not lower Elysium.
No, I wasn't there.
Yeah, he said no.
No, he just wanted us to meet him outside from what I understood.
Well, not us per se. He just wants to know where Hyde's going, which...
Yeah, he said he's not going to lift a finger against him in Elysium. But that's in Elysium, which is perfectly okay as far as the rules are concerned.
Just a thought process. What I think is that there's more.
I don't want to be Prince, if that's what you're implying.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. What I'm implying is that I have a feeling that this club is not going to be here come morning, and you should probably move Elysium elsewhere. That is what I'm proposing. And if it means having to drop the support for Otis or having to change gears and tactics, I have a feeling that if you open up your doors come that night, especially with everyone being present, I'm going to assume that's also Melvin and his fire crazy crew. You're running the risk of, and she holds it up, building everything you brought, dear. And I wouldn't want to see that.
I mean, that is part of the risk of dealing with vampires in general.
Unfortunately, it is.
But if they...
All right.
If they break Elysium, we'll all have hell to pay on their side as well.
But what's the cost? The only cost I see here is, and she points it up, hers.
Well, buildings can be replaced.
She looks at Ivory straight through. Really, they can?
Yeah. It just takes time.
Insurance
I'm not saying it's
great.
fun. Yeah.
And believe me,
didn't say it was going to be a good time.
Really good insurance policy on this place.
I would be shocked if you didn't.
Just for you guys' information, I don't think I've actually told you about this. Follow me. And she'll take him downstairs, because there are stairs from the upper office to the lower office. And then there is a trap door down to the sewers.
Showing him the trap door.
Nice. Well played.
This doesn't go beyond the three of us.
Never.
Understood.
This is our way out if we need it.
Oh, I thought that's where we're going to stuff the bodies when we're done. Okay.
Well, maybe that too. But
no, that's later. No, if we have our way. If I have my way, I'm going to find out I'm going to design that ritual or replicate that ritual where we just have a trash can out back. Does it for us.
The ritual destruction, yeah.
Just as long as they don't take the trash out on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, garbage man, don't touch that one. That would be
as you come back upstairs, you'll see Benjamin coming towards you with a file folder. Ma'am, are you done with your meetings for tonight, or?
Yes.
The information you requested, and he hands it to you.
Is there a summary?
Of course.
Or
it's just the file folder itself is just a bunch of pictures. But there is a church next to a Goodwill off of Edgewater and Murlark Avenue. It is the Church of the First Gospel. And he says, I could not get beyond the outside of the church. It feels very much like a close-knit community. They smelled an outsider coming a mile away, but all the roads that I have exhausted, all the avenues that I have followed lead to this church. Unfortunately, I didn't spend too much time since that is in the West Salem territory, and I was warned not to spend too much time there by Billy.
Yeah. Does this sound familiar? Is this the same church? No,
it is not.
Okay.
Not even from the picture?
No, it's a different church entirely.
She looks at
So what leads you to this? What information? And you think this is where Geraldine might be?
In either of those two locations. The The paper trail that I followed leads me to believe that the Goodwill store is owned by a gentleman who has recently acquired the Heritage Center here in town, in the city. And I believe that you have had some dealings with him because we're hosting some of his art. His name is Antoine Malcolm Davies.
Ah, yes, Mr. Davies. Owns the Goodwill store. Interesting. Not something I would think that he would go for.
It was buried, ma'am. Just so you're aware. It took some digging. But about 4 years ago, several of his acquisitions, shall we say, in West Salem were distributed amongst different shell companies. The Goodwill was among them.
And what about the church?
Church, I believe, is on the up and up. I couldn't find any tarnished records on it. It goes back 20-something years. It's been there for a while. But like I said, the behavior...
How long has Jared Lee been
dead? So what led you to the church then?
I wanted to go inside and see if there was access between the two buildings. They were butted up rather close to each other, almost touching. And given the area up here is similar to where I grew up in London, it is not terrible to assume that some of the basements could have shared a wall. Foundationally speaking, it could have been raised up around the same time. And there are no records for the Goodwill existing beyond 20 years ago.
That sounds like a great talent for Kathy.
I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't go into the church itself. I tried to see if perhaps there might have been some outreach programs that they're holding in the basement. This is particular to some of the churches back home, but they were quick to dismiss me.
Do you think they could tell?
They could, Mom. I would hate to think what they would do to one of you.
So they seem particularly fanatical.
To say the least.
But if there is a connection between the door to the church, doesn't that mean there would be a connection to the door to the Goodwill? So wouldn't going into the Goodwill to find that make sense?
Most establishments that sell things, I find, would not let a customer into the basement. So the Goodwill did not pan out as I had hoped.
Felix and Kathy, can we make a stop? I will happily go shopping.
What were their hours?
The Goodwill closes at sunset.
Perfect. Come on, Billy. Let's go.
He looks up from behind the bar.
Oh, only good things can come of this.
Oh, I've been meaning to give you this Christmas gift, let's say. And Ivory goes over to her desk and pulls out a set of lockpicks and hands them to Kathy.
She takes them. Oh, I was wondering if I could have these.
Perfect.
Thank you. I am ready. Let's go. Billy, chop chop, bring the
What could go wrong? Let's break into holy ground. What could go wrong?
The Goodwill is not exactly holy ground.
Holy ground.
Yeah.
No, I meant the other way, going into holy ground.
Well, we're not. I know that. Which one has the problem with churches? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Billy, again, the moment he's called by Kathy, just looks up at Ivory.
Yeah, I think we need to check this out ASAP.
Understood, ma'am. And he goes downstairs and puts on his coat.
Yeah, she looks at Benjamin. Is there anything else that we should know?
Kathy goes to grab her cat because she has been training him.
Yep. Everything is in the file, Miss Lawson.
So she will take the
thorough as I
file
can
with
make
her.
it. Would you like me to follow, or should I stay behind?
It all depends on how he feels about larceny.
Is there like a drawing of the building and how it's set up,
Mhm.
or a picture or something?
Yeah, of course.
What do you think would be a good way of getting in?
To the Goodwill, the back.
Yes. Okay.
I find that the side facing the street, the main thoroughfare, is littered with propaganda and iconography of the church. They seem to have a close relationship.
Okay.
I didn't see as much in the rear.
Okay. And is there a good place for watching from a bit afar?
The main street that it is on faces the river. There is the interstate between Edgewater and the Willamette River. So it's very easy to kind of pull off as if something has happened to your car on the 22, and you could watch from the expressway if you choose to, but that would only give you views on the front of the buildings, nothing from the back.
There's no good spots in the back?
The church eats up a lot of the real estate behind the Goodwill. There's a kind of children's playground and a caretaker's abode, a kind of living unit that eats up a lot of the rear, cutting off a good view from 2nd Street, as it were. I don't recommend it.
As she goes behind a screen, starts changing,
Yep.
getting into something a little less
clandestine.
Yeah.
Sneaky.
Snakey snacker.
Yep.
What do you guys think?
She holds up her lockpicks.
The iconography, is that going to cause you any issues?
It depends. And then she holds up the cat. I'm coming prepared.
Wow.
I have been training him.
Yeah.
He will help.
Yeah.
Like, what have you taught him how to be rabidly anti-Christian? Like, what are you doing?
No, but
you don't believe in God.
But he will be able to scout ahead, and we have formed a communication that will be able to tell me if there's anything interesting on the other side. So is my analysm number 2.
Yeah.
I can also communicate with God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
Fair
go.
enough. Well, this should be interesting.
Yeah, the church, and my cat is Jewish. That kind of thing.
All right. Looks at Billy. Let's go.
It's like the holy symbols don't work on me. I'm an atheist.
Yeah, I don't believe in God. But he takes you across the river, and sure enough, right where Benjamin said it was, there is this not extravagant, but definitely not humble church that eats up this whole massive lot. There are crosses on every corner. There's this massive display that kind of has the services going on that also has a cross on top of it. There is a massive cross at the bell tower that sits on top of its entrance, and all the little steeples have little crosses around it. And the way it lights up for the evening, it casts shadows of the crosses on every corner and out from it. There is no real safe place to hide from the iconography that this church portains. It is almost like it was designed with keeping monsters at bay. The foundation looks old, classic, kind of like round stones with that old earth and cement holding them together that goes up about 5 feet. And then it's this red brick that goes up another 10 or 15 feet, and then the rest is just iron and wood in this very industrial kind of, what's it called, Victorian era Gothic kind of architecture. And next to it is the Goodwill that just looks very modern by contrast. It's just windows that go from about knee level up to about 7 feet up across the whole storefront. There's a bunch of different flyers for different events happening at the church itself. And when you get there, the church appears to be winding down. You can see that people are leaving. The Goodwill looks like it's been closed for several hours. Like, it's got one light on, one kind of like emergency light out in the back, where you can see that there looks to be some kind of bin for cassettes, maybe 8 tracks, Betamax videos, things like that. Like the old, what's it called? Technology, as the new one is kind of pushing its way forward and forging a path for itself. But Billy drives by and then goes around the block. Man, where would you like me to drop you off? Didn't feel like the front of it was a good place.
No. She looks at Kathy. What are you thinking? Do you think there's a way from the sewer, maybe?
I'm just gonna use the back door. She like steps out and she opens the door and she's like, don't blink, and then she pulls obfuscate.
Okay. Make a rouse check. Roll your hunger die. See what happens.
6.
Okay. Billy pulls up, lets you out, and then continues driving.
We're gonna go up to that point on the freeway, I think that Benjamin.
Yes, ma'am.
Mentioned.
Understood. And Kathy has that familiar feeling of pulling on the shadows, becoming invisible in the darkness. Your cat jumps down and just kind of walks beside you, but always.
Keep in mind, I can telepathically communicate with it now.
You can't telepathically communicate with it, but you can communicate with it.
Yes. The idea is that I can communicate with it now.
Yeah, and he is keeping an eye out, kind of looking back and forth, and just kind of sitting there, licking himself, but very observant of what's happening.
Yep. All right. She's going to use her brand new lockpicks to lock the back door so she can go in.
Okay. So that's going to be a dexterity and a larceny check. So that's 3 dice.
Yay!
Yay! 2 regular, 1 hunger.
Yep. Oh, it's not bad. 0, 8, and then my thing. Oh, wait, it's a 1 on the hunger die.
That's fine. You've got a success. That's fine. So you got 2 successes. It is not a tough lock. It is not a hard lock. It is not a lock that is meant to keep people out, as much as just kind of like make sure that nobody really comes in that it's not supposed to be in. So you bypass it rather easily, and with a satisfying click, the knob turns and you find yourself in the rear of this Goodwill. Excuse me. It looks like there's one of those kind of like beaded curtains in front of you, about 10 feet up, but otherwise there's a bathroom to your left and an office, a door marked office to the right, and then the store opens up in front of you beyond the curtain.
Where would I think the basement would be? In the office?
Could be anywhere. I mean, it wouldn't be in the office.
Well, there's the blueprints. We had blueprints.
Oh no, you don't have blueprints of the actual building. You just have like the street level map of how the properties were divvied out.
I'm gonna start with the storage area and see if maybe the storage area has access to the downtown, like downstairs, because it would make sense that they would store extra stuff downstairs.
Yeah. You go over to the storage area, and there is actually a ladder at the back of the storage room, as it were. The ladder disappears into the roof, and then it disappears into a hatch at the floor level. But there's also a hatch in the roof as well, so it's kind of like the ladder in the Millennium Falcon that leads to the turrets. Kind of like that, but there's hatches.
Nothing going down.
Yeah, there's one going down, there's one going up.
Let's try going down and see what happens.
Yeah. You open the hatch and it smells musty. You can definitely hear something scurrying as the little bit of sound that you make from the rusty hatch opening kind of grinds. And do you have a way to look and see in the dark, by the way? You don't. Great.
I do not. This is gonna go great, but that's why I have my cat with me. My cat's supposed to be leading me because cats have dark vision. That's the whole point of the cat.
Okay. No. Yeah, the cat will hear something scurry and it'll go after it, leaving you in darkness as it goes hunting.
What? I've trained this cat though. Okay.
It still has instincts. It is not a slave.
That's the loyalty of cats.
Yeah.
It's okay. I try to quietly call it back to me without like disturbing my stuff to see if it comes back.
Okay.
Like we have a job to do.
Yeah, you just hear a little meow from somewhere underneath you.
But he's around me? Oh no, he's not downstairs. Alright.
Somewhere.
I go downstairs.
Yep. It is dark, and as best as a cat can tell you, there is stuff in front of you. You knock over a bunch of boxes, trying to find your way around.
I'm looking for a switch on the side of the panel. Is there any?
You find it takes you a while, but you find a wall. And after a bit of walking in one direction, you do find some switches.
All right. So before I turn anything on, I'm going to go back to the hatch and close it.
Okay.
Just so in case I light this up, it doesn't let anyone know.
It takes you about 20-30 minutes to find the hatch again. This is a pitch black room, and
I get that.
It takes you a little bit less time to find your way back to the switch, but it's still you are still kind of like hands out trying to find your way back with no way to actually see where you're going. There are 3 switches in the wall. 2 on one level and 1 on the lower level. Lower than the other 2, rather. So which ones do you want to turn on, if any?
Is there any Bree written on them?
No.
Braille?
No. In this time period, nobody gives a shit about blind people.
True.
But you're blind, that's your problem.
I'm going to attempt to switch the bottom.
Especially in a basement.
Yeah. How'd you get down here? Fuck you. Yeah. Don't be blind anymore. Which one did you turn on?
The bottom one?
The bottom one? You hear the humming of an extractor and what sounds like
cool, turn it off.
Okay.
I go to turn on the other one?
Right. Which one of the two? The left or the right one?
Oh, right. Oh, can I make an insight check to see if I know or notice anything about these switches that would like indicate that it's not going to turn on an extractor?
I mean, the extractor was separate from the other two, so you don't really need to make any kind of roll to determine that. So you're imagining that the extractor was separate from the other two because it wasn't a light switch.
All right, I'm gonna try the other one. I'm gonna try the left one.
Left one?
Wait, this way. This one. So
if you're looking at the left one to you, your left?
That one.
Okay.
No, your left.
Okay, so the right one to you, your right.
Yes.
Okay. You see a little sliver of light turn on as a door next to you suddenly becomes outlined slightly. Looks like a bathroom.
Okay, I'm just gonna leave that on. That's enough light for to see and pull in shadows.
I mean, you're already invisible. You're already obfuscated.
Oh, never mind. I thought I was because I was moving around and flicking switches and stuff. Do I see any other door with a little bit of light?
Not really. The little line of light that you're getting from the closed door doesn't really give you anything. You can see the few boxes that you knocked over next to you. But this basement feels massive.
Okay. I'm gonna walk in the direction, now that I have gathered my bearings, I'm gonna walk in the direction of the church downstairs. Does that make sense?
I mean, it's rough, because you don't have any, down here, you don't have any bearings to where the buildings are in comparison to each other.
So, if I make a logic to you, so I know where the back is of the building, right? The idea is that I came in through the back, I came in down the hatch. So I have an idea upstairs that if I come in through, like, let's say this way, generally, I might hit the back of the building going that way. The front of the building being this way. So because I know that, ideally, this is where the hatch came from, this is the back of the building, I'm going to go into the third direction. Does that make sense?
All of that would have worked before you tried to find your way in the darkness downstairs. The whole weekend at Bernie's that you did down here has discombobulated your sense of direction.
Okay. I will attempt to find the hatch then so that I can rewrite myself.
Yeah. You go upstairs, and again, you're met with more darkness because the only light that there exists is from the little bit of light that comes from the center of the store itself. And as you kind of acclimate yourself to that, it looks like the bathroom is towards the front of the building underneath the main street.
Okay, is that enough to tell me in a general direction which way to go?
Yeah.
Or do I need to?
Yeah. Okay. At this point now you can kind of like climbing up and down a couple times to kind of orient yourself and where the lights are. You can now kind of tell where the church is. The walls on that side of the building smell of paint. They smell of glue. Smells
New
of
paint?
Yeah.
I knock on it. See if it's hollow.
It is. There's a cavity. At least where you knock, there's a cavity.
I wish cell phones existed.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah. On the side of the side of the highway, like Billy's pulled over. He's made it look like one of the tires is out, so he's put the hazards on. He's brought the jack out, and he's kind of raised the front passenger side of the car, and he's just sitting there with a cigarette, just kind of looking at it like he doesn't want to do the work, especially because there's a little slight flurry of snow coming down. So he's got his collar up, kind of bundled.
I try to call my cat back to me, and then I proceed to look in the boxes for something heavy so I can like bang through the wall.
I mean,
or cut through. If I razor blades were a thing, they still had electrolytes back then, right? For open boxes.
I mean, they had knives.
You could cut. Yeah,
and scissors.
It's a box cutter. Scissors I can also do too.
Yeah,
because
there's
it's
a straight blade.
Yeah,
straight blades, things like that.
Yep, I find one of those.
Yeah, we had those in the 80s.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
And I want to try cut through the drywall.
I mean, you have potence, so.
Yeah, but I also don't want to make a ton of noise.
Well, therein lies the rub, because you have a strength of 1, so you're not going to be cutting through any drywall unless you want to make some noise.
Okay, then it looks like I'm using potence. Yay!
All right.
I tried.
Good
I
times.
tried to be stealthy.
Yeah. And there comes a time where stealth is not the opportune situation.
Okay. So how do I roll 2 for potence, right?
No, you roll 1 die to activate it, because you got to rouse the blood for prowess.
0.
Okay. So you pull on the blood. You can now add your potence rating of 2 to any strength check you make. So you're going to make a strength and athletics check. You have no athletics. Good times. So it's going to be 3 dice. 2 regular dice and 1 hunger dice as you dig your hand with this blade into the drywall.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay, so I got an 8. My red dice is a 7, and then I think that's a 6. Yes, that's a 6. So it's not too bad.
Okay. You try as hard as possible to be as stealthy as possible. But there is this surge of strength that floods your body, and you crash your needle-like point of a knife through the drywall. There's this crash, and almost like a house of cards, with one of the cards being like flicked away, a lot of the drywall starts to crumble away, and the wall comes crashing down. There's this cacophony of thumping and thudding, and boxes are being crushed, and
I'm hiding. Like, I am like as high, like, and make it look natural as possible, and then I'm like in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Could we hear anything?
Not from the highway.
Okay.
But you do notice that some of the people who are lingering about outside at the church, and even Billy kind of taps on the window and points his cigarette lit end towards them. But you see that a couple of them kind of turn towards the Goodwill. But as Kathy goes and hides, and some of the broken wall that leads into the church basement itself, you can see cracks of light coming in through there. You will see that there are a few cavities in between the 2 buildings that have been used for disposal. You can see desiccated bodies that have been kind of boarded up, very telltale heart, or cask of Amontillado, and there's maybe 6 bodies that don't look desiccated, that look like they're in the same state that you found Alfred in. Like, they have wooden dowels that are maybe like the size of a fist, maybe thinner, just kind of driven through their chests. One of them even has 4 of them in different locations, almost like they were trying to find a misplaced heart.
How many of these people can I carry?
That's not
it. He's still alive! He's still alive!
He's still moving! Oh my god!
He looked at me! He looked at me!
Is there a dolly anywhere?
Any women?
with the little bit of light that's coming through the cracks in between the walls, you can hear that there are people kind of shuffling on the other side of the wall from the church side, and from the little bit of light that you are getting from the closed bathroom door. Doesn't look like there's a dolly down here.
Are there any women?
3 women, 3 males.
I would know what hair Geraldine would have. Because I don't know. I'm looking for distinctive features.
I mean, all 3 of them are brunettes. Only the males have different appearances. Like the women all look very similar to each other.
How would I be able to tell if any of these are Geraldine?
Start pulling stakes. See how that works
out. Yeah.
Yep.
Being the only food source. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not true, because the other side has a food source.
Do it. Start pulling stakes. See what happens.
Oh, don't tempt me. Oh, don't tempt me.
Oh, I double dare you.
Huh?
If I touch these things, are they going to attack?
If you just touch them, no. But if you pull a stake...
What if I move them? No, what if I move them to a box?
No. The rigor mortis is set in, so you would have to break them to put them inside boxes.
Oh.
How are you going to feel about that?
Am I able to carry 2, like one over each shoulder?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right, I'm bringing bodies. Let's go, people.
Okay.
Oh, this should be interesting. How are you going to get on the street?
So you're just going to take 2 random female bodies?
I'm gonna find one of those really tall wardrobe boxes that they do use in Goodwill, and I'm gonna put one of them in there, and I'm gonna grab that box and try to go upstairs.
Okay, so you're just taking one of them, is what you're saying?
Well, I'm gonna put 2, because the wardrobe boxes are like...
Oh, so you're putting 2 bodies inside a box?
Yes.
Okay.
So these are wardrobe boxes. They're big, and they're long, and they fit, I can do that, and I can carry it.
This is how somebody came up with Weekend at Bernie's. But you throw two random females into a box. You put that as best as possible.
The one that has 4 stakes, because I'm assuming if they have 4 stakes, that might be 4.
Or is that
that's a male?
Was that one of the females?
I want to put that in a quote. We put 2 females in a box.
Put 2 females in a box. Put that box on your shoulder, and then try to climb a ladder in the darkness.
So
perfect. So
would Ivory have a picture? Because she would have shown the picture.
I can agree to this. Like I'm pretty sure she. Okay, so that's why I asked.
Yeah.
How would do any of these look like that?
In the darkness, it would require a really rough wits and awareness roll from you.
Would I
take him to the bathroom?
That's what I was gonna do. Sorry. Can I take the light of the bathroom?
I mean, the little sliver of light that you have from the closed bathroom door? Sure, you can take them.
I will. I mean...
You can take them. Or you can take everybody over there if you want, and just put them on the floor and see if you can make out faces. Make a wits and an awareness roll for me.
That's gonna be bad. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying.
And before regular dice, 1 hunger.
We're doing nothing, so...
Yeah, they're watching. They're seeing the people that were lingering outside go inside the church.
Okay.
Oh,
I got 9.
That's probably not good.
8, and 7.
Okay. Yeah. You pull them all over.
Those are just a success, right?
They all look like they have very similar resemblances to each other. It's almost like they could all pass for family members. For all of them, once you bring them over to the light, they all look like Geraldine in some way, shape, or form. They all have some semblance. Even the males have the same kind of features on their face.
These people are hunting for her. They don't know what she is. They don't know where she is. They're not. At least she's not down here.
Yes. So which 2 do you want to take?
I don't think any of these people would know where she is. I think they were just hunting what looks like her, and then they brought them down here when they didn't succeed. Can I make that insight? Am I allowed to make that insight?
You can make that insight, sure. I allow it. You don't even have to roll. You have that insight. That's yours. You can have that.
Is it accurate though? Is it feeling accurate?
Whatever you want.
You're so helpful.
This is your party. You can bring as many people or no one if you want.
I want to bring one of them at least.
Sure. You've got a box. You can put 2 of them in the box. Which 2 do you want to take if you want to take any, or do you want to just leave them here since they all clearly are red herrings?
Yes, I know. None of them will go into my box, but I am taking this box with me.
Just an empty box? Foiled them. They'll never know that I brought nobody in this box.
Okay, so red herrings down below, which means Geraldine is definitely in that church. Now I need to make an opening to that church. Okay, cool.
You hear voices.
No, I go away. I'm just. Okay. I'm not even. I'm like.
I like how the plan changed. It's like I need to get into that church. Voices. No, I don't. No, I don't.
So I go up. I walk out, and I run like hell.
Yeah.
Oh, I bring my cat.
Yeah. Of course.
Are you visible?
No.
I shouldn't. No.
So.
Can we see the cat?
Oh yeah.
I know the cat.
But I think if you grab the cat and put him back in the backpack that you had on when you obfuscated, it would become obfuscated with you. Like it wouldn't just be a cat
I just pick floating. Him up, and then the minute we go outside, I let him out. Like he is the person.
So the cat. You're letting the cat follow you in the snow, is what you're saying. You don't want to put him in the backpack.
I wanted him to lead me through, but okay, fine. I'll put him back in my book bag.
I'm just like you can get out of the place fine. I don't want to force you to take your cat to lead you like a weird Simon Says situation.
Except that we could see the cat and know that Kathy's out.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes. Once you see the cat, that was important. I want to know if you put the cat away so that it disappears, or if you let the cat linger with you.
I let the cat out the door. Okay. I let it run to where it's snow, and then I put it back in my pack. Once I'm like, I give it a couple minutes, and I hope to God they're nearby.
Yeah. So the cat makes its presence known, and then the cat goes back into the alley, never to be seen again until you pick up Kathy. But
all right.
The moment
once you see the cat,
Billy drops the car, puts the jack away, drives back around. So it takes about 10 minutes, but you can hear people kind of running around on the church grounds, yelling that they couldn't have gotten far, and to check the perimeter. And you hear a lot of what sounds like military speak, locking things down, very, very similar to police jargon. And Billy pulls up, opens the door, and waits a couple of maybe 30 seconds before driving away.
Do I make it in?
Sure. If you want to take that opportunity to get in, that'll be your opportunity. So Carl and Ivory will feel the car shift as weight is added to it, and then Billy just takes off the moment he feels that. But you drive away. You have information that you share with the rest of your coterie?
I tell them the minute I pop out. I'm like, hey guys, guess what? I found 3 Geraldines.
What?
3 Geraldines.
What do you mean 3?
All of them staked.
What you got
all
there?
Of them vampires.
Oh no, she didn't bring anything.
Did you? Oh.
No, she didn't bring any of them with her. She specifically said no vampires in her box.
I hold up the box though, and I'm like,
empty box.
Okay.
I couldn't climb up the ladder. So I couldn't climb up the ladders successfully while carrying vampires. There were 3 of them. They're all red herrings. I think what's happening is they're looking for Geraldine, staking the ones that look like Geraldine, and then putting them in the walls to hide the bodies.
There are so many assumptions in that statement. I don't even know where to start.
But yeah, as
what?
How could there be vampires that look like Geraldine?
Yeah.
3 things: males, females, Aphrodites, all of them.
What?
Ladies.
What?
Yeah, but Billy takes you back to the club so you can discuss what to do with this new information, and so you can bring Benjamin in to help you decipher whatever is coming out of Kathy's mouth. But
he can do that?
No, but he can help.
Oh, good. Because none of us have figured it out.
Should I have brought the body? I feel like I should have brought the body.
Live your life. You didn't want to take the chance, and you didn't.
I
take the
mean,
chance.
it seems like you should have.
No, you're fine.
But,
this is a good place to call it for tonight. That way you have time period, a little bit of time to discuss amongst yourselves what may or may not have happened, and whether or not you were in a room full of red herrings. But as always, I want to thank you guys for being a part of this. I want to thank the audience for joining us on this crazy adventure that is Kathy's life, because we're all just living in it. And as always,
we just hang out with her.
We just hang out. As always, I want to give you guys a chance to kind of plug whatever you're into, whatever you're doing, before we do the typical outro stuff. So let's start with you, Chad. What are you up to, and where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found? No, nothing from Chad.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were asking me. I skipped of course, in the audio, obviously. So at Zenaphagus on Twitter, and usually I just post weird stuff there. But as far as any stuff, I'm still doing Movie Bros on occasion when we all can get together and review some movies and do our general jargon, talk shit, etc.
Nice.
So it's a good podcast and a lot of fun to do. But yeah, I would like to, if you guys could check us out there, that'd be great.
Perfect.
And that's pretty much it for me.
All right. Susan, what are you up to, and where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found?
What am I up to? Just got back from a Queen concert.
You did.
Rock on.
And but I'm on Instagram under Lockgen.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to post pictures of landscapes in different places I've been, and so if anybody wants to follow me on that would be cool.
Nice.
And any likes would be great.
Perfect. Had you been to Colorado before, or was this the first time?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been up there a lot.
Okay. I forgot to ask you if that was your first time to Colorado or not, so we could dish about that on my time there. And then Jess, what are you up to, and where can you be found on the internet if you want to be found?
I have nothing. I'm just Jess.
I mean, you learned about heat and about ice since you left Florida, so those are valuable pieces of information.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you want to warn people?
Unfortunate pieces of information.
If they go someplace cold from someplace hot.
Well, yeah, exactly. You expect major drastic differences, like 28 degrees and frozen pipes. Those are great.
Yeah.
And the
hail. Yeah. The end of times. The hail is
sleet
when you're not prepared for it. Mm-hmm.
And it's
sleet.
On top of your roof. You're like, oh my God.
I don't think she's gotten sleet yet. So.
Ooh, that's coming.
Do you have a metal roof or a normal everyday roof?
Shingles. So there's
shingles. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I've heard metal roofs go hog wild with hail, so I was curious.
It just sounded like someone was pelting my roof. I was terrified.
Yeah. I the first time that it hailed with me when I first moved to Colorado, I thought it was the end of the world. I came out screaming out of my room. My roommate was afeared for his life because he thought that something was happening to me, and I was just like, "No, what is that sound? Why are you calm? It is the end times."
Hail's nothing. Wait for the tornadoes.
Oh no!
I don't get tornadoes. I don't get tornadoes. Thank God.
Well,
yeah,
I don't.
I wonder if tornadoes would be more frightening for somebody that's lived through a hurricane or less frightening.
You don't know they're coming. You have no warning.
That's my problem with tornadoes is that there is zero. You get 5 to 10 minutes of warning, and that's about it.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
Maybe.
That sucks. Yeah,
but
that's more terrifying.
But I feel like with hurricanes, hurricanes, you got to go into there knowing that there is a good probability you'll lose your house. Just
same
saying.
with tornadoes.
Yeah, tornadoes are the same way.
But see, we're built for like in Miami anyway, where some of us are from. We're built like a lot of houses are built for that. So you're probably not going to lose your house. You might get a lot of water damage, but the house itself is not going to collapse on you. Whereas freaking everywhere else seems to be made out of matchsticks, as far as I'm freaking concerned.
What is with that? What is with that? I am literally in a house built of sticks and glue. I look at that and I'm like, I did not pay this amount of money to live in a trailer home. It was so offensive. It was disgusting because I didn't know any better. I didn't know this is like the standard, and Miami's different.
Yeah, no, things are different.
When we were looking for places. When we were looking for places here in Claremont, I can't tell you how many houses we had to immediately reject out of hand because they were like, "Oh, it's entirely made out of wood," and I'm like, "Nope." If I can put my fist through the wall, on the outside wall, I'm not interested.
No.
Here there is no such thing. You either get brick, which is like, by the way, you can't even trade your electricity for brick. If there's anything wrong, it's going to be a pain. Or you get.
It is a pain.
I love what's happening here. Let me finish the outro so we can continue talking about this stream.
Absolutely.
A little insight
Hey,
into
my
what
house
happens.
is stucco, so I don't
even know what that means. But just so
it's better than sticks.
Yeah. If you guys want to continue watching this kind of shenanigans, Mondays are for Vampire the Masquerade. Tuesdays are for Werewolf the Wild West or Legend of the Five Rings. Thursdays are for Seventh Sea and our newly started Old Gods of Appalachia story that just started that I'm excited to get into.
Recommend.
And if you want to catch me as a player, you can go over to the McStabber Studios Twitch channel, where I get to play every Wednesday as Agustin de la Cruz, a Spanish La Sombra in the Dark Ages, which, is a cupcake and has done nothing wrong, and is just kind of trying to lead a happy, regular life, as you do in the Dark Ages. But as always, thank you guys for being a part of this. Remember that it is okay to not be okay, and if you need help and you're watching live, there are phone numbers going up in the Twitch chat. They'll be in the description box if you're watching on YouTube later. That will help you, that will lead you to resources and people that want to help you. If you're not in the United States or you don't want to deal with phones, there is a link going up as well, which is findahelpline.com. So that you can find resources in your area if you're not in the United States, or if you just want to find a resource that isn't phone-based in case you have like anxiety or issues dealing with people on the phone. So just be aware that there are people out there who want to help you, that there are resources out there for you, and that it should never feel like you are in this alone, because people are out there who want to help you, and there are resources out there for you. So as always, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other. We will see you when we see you, and have a good night, guys. Bye.
Bye.